The Astros lose game one of the A series in Oakland. Unfortunately, we will talk about this and more on this edition of the Locked On Astros podcast.
It's the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Astros, your daily Astros podcast. Here are your hosts, Eric the Man Huysman and Brett H-Town Wheelhouse Chancey.
All righty. We are Locked On Houston Astros, and we hope that you join us for a daily Locked On Astros podcast. My name is Eric Huysman. You can find me on Twitter at Eric Talk Stros. You can find the show at Locked On Astros. Brett, where can you find you at?
They can find me at H-Town Wheelhouse on Twitter and at Stros411 on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Always positive, even when you get out hit by the A's, always Stros.
And Thunder, where can they find you at? No, sorry. It's raining cats and dogs out there. And guys, I hope everybody's safe out there. So it's been one of those nights where I heard there's a lot of tornadoes warnings out there, but I hope you like the new intro. And this is some of the big changes that we've had coming on the Locked On Astros podcast. So let's go and get started and talk about this. And today's episode is not really sponsored by this, but let's talk about the Locked On MLB podcast. It's Paul Francis Sullivan. He's a walking encyclopedia about everything you need to know about MLB. And I know we've been on there. He's a big fan of ours, and he is somebody who knows about baseball. So when you're not listening to Locked On MLB podcast, go and listen to Sully, and he knows everything about that. And it's the single best source for daily baseball talk. Subscribe today wherever you get your podcasts. So speaking of somebody who knows this stuff, let's go and bring our next guest. Brett, you want to go and introduce him?
Yes, we have World Series champion, none other than Clay Hensley, product of Pearland, joining us from the West Coast. Clay Hensley, how you doing, sir?
What's going on, guys? It's been a long time.
It has, and we've got a few changes. We've kind of gussied up the site a little bit, and it's great to have you. I see you got your jersey hanging up on the wall behind you. The Astros, Clay, came in tonight a half game behind Oakland, hoping to maybe take a division lead, and they come in. Javier gives up some solo home runs. They score 5 runs. They out-hit Oakland, but Oakland comes away with a win, and the bullpen just kind of fell apart. And that's one of the things we'll talk about because we know you did pitching in the starting and relief role, and we'll kind of talk to you about Stanek and his problems here. We'll give you some details on that. Let us know maybe what he's going through mentally right now.
Gotcha.
All righty. So let's talk a little bit about Jose Urquidy. I know that he's I don't know if you know the situation, but he left the game recently with kind of some cramps in his shoulder. And
Right.
as a pitcher, I know he had to leave that one start, but as a pitcher, how do you deal with shoulder cramps or tightness or anything that has to deal with your shoulder?
Well, so look, here's the deal. The Astros did place Urquidy on the 10-day injured list. He exited Wednesday's game, little shoulder discomfort. And, I think it's interesting to note that they did put him on the 10-day injured list. That kind of leads to believe that there's something a little bit more to this than just maybe some soreness or some discomfort. Usually what happens in situations like this is they go and immediately schedule an MRI. And, a lot of these organizations, most of the big league clubs have these either MRI machines on hand at the stadium, or they'll send them immediately to, probably in this case, Memorial or something like that to get it scheduled and get it done. And so they can read a scan on it. I'm not sure if that's happened with him. I'd probably imagine so. The fact that they did put him on the 10-day injured list leads me to believe that there's something there that they may have probably gave him a shot or something like that, and are going to probably reassess it here in the next probably 3 to 4 days.
Now, one thing they did do is they they retro dated it back to last Thursday. So that also gives it, I guess, a little bit of a shorter time frame rather than going from that day 10 days after. They backed it about 4 days, and they called it posterior shoulder soreness. So in the back, you had shoulder, I believe shoulder surgery when you were a professional. Now, when you have something like that pop up early in the season, is that something that can be a nagging injury, or does it just depend on the degree of what's going on?
It's really tough to tell unless they do an MRI that has to do with the dye. When they inject you with dye, you're able to see on the MRI scans, if there's some of that dye leaking through in some certain situations of where the ligaments are, which usually is indicative of a tear. For me personally, I tore my labrum in 2007, and I played most of the year with it, but it was probably one of my worst seasons of my career. It was with tremendous discomfort. And now the other thing too is when I got my MRI scans, there wasn't any show of a tear. Basically it got to the point where middle of the season, I basically was like, look, I can't brush my teeth without it hurting, without there being pain. So, they kind of went into my shoulder with more of the exploratory surgery as they deemed it, and basically said before they knocked me out, look, hey, we're going to go in and check it out. And when we come back, when you wake up, you're either going to be back in 3 weeks or you're going to be back in 8 months. And lo and behold, when I woke up, they said, look, there was a severe tear in there. The MRI scanned and the dye did not pick it up. And we had a torn labrum. But, when you say posterior discomfort or soreness, like you said, it is the back of the shoulder. That leads me to believe it's more of a rotator cuff situation. A guy that throws, a lot of hard sliders, a lot of, pounds fastballs, maybe cut fastballs and whatnot, puts a little bit more strain on the shoulder. There's a lot of reasons of why this happens. It can be anything from delivery. It could be anything from, something else in the body, maybe something on his lower half may have been nagging him over the course of the season. And, he's compensating without even realizing it. That tends to be one of the big, flare-ups for shoulder discomforts when your mechanics are off for whatever reason, whether it's other injuries or whether just sometimes they're off. So I think that we're probably going to take this probably day to day with the Astros. I don't think they're going to jump the gun and say that it's anything serious. It very well may be just some discomfort, with a short season last year, having limited innings and not really getting a chance to, especially Urquidy in this specific case, getting a chance to extend his innings and get some of that arm strength built up. Coming back in the offseason and then coming back again this season, kind of asked to go ahead and go for the long haul after such a stellar year last year. It could be just, a little bit not ready perhaps, or perhaps it's just, some early season soreness that they're going to try to work through. And hopefully it won't be a big bump on the radar for them.
I know that Dusty Baker today said that he threw off flat ground today and felt great. And he said Urquidy may throw off the mound in a couple of days, and that's a big plus for us and him. So we'll have to see how that kind of translates into reality. And so we'll see how that kind of translates over the next few days. So speaking of translating over the next few days, let's talk a little bit about Wealthfront, Brett.
Yes, Wealthfront is something that you need to get involved in. If investing, already can be complicated, but whether you're a beginner or you've been investing for years, Wealthfront makes it easy. They have the right tools and they want to put this in your portfolio. There's no manual trades, no picking stocks, no watching the stock market every day. They automatically handle all the investing based on preferences that you control. Wealthfront can create a portfolio globally diversified, low-cost index funds personalized just for you in minutes. And Clay, Wealthfront can even help you lower the taxes that you pay as you invest. For the average client, their tax loss harvesting can more than cover the low 0.25% advisory fee. Best of all, it's automatic. So Wealthfront is trusted with over $20 billion in assets that they deal with. You can get your first $5,000 managed for free going to wealthfront.com/LockedOnMLB. To get your first $5,000 managed for free for life, go to wealthfront.com/LockedOnMLB. That's WEALTHFRONT.com/LockedOnMLB to start growing your savings. Go to wealthfront.com. Get started today.
You know what? With these late games, I'm kind of hungry. I feel like even though it's bedtime, I kind of want a Built Bar.
Yes, Built Bar. And if you hurry, they may still have the birthday cake with sprinkles flavor that they released today. We actually ordered ours when it came out at 4 o'clock. They've got other flavors like coconut almond, cherry, raspberry, mint brownie. It is the best tasting protein bar in the business. It is not overly filled with sugar. It's not too chalky. It doesn't have too many calories. Most bars have 17 grams of protein, 130 calories, 4 grams of sugar, and 4 grams of net carbs. That's right. So go grab a Built Bar. They are the best bar in the business. And right now, if you use the promo code LOCKED15, you'll get 15% off your first order. You won't go wrong with Built Bar. Built Bar, the best tasting bar, and it's wrapped in 100% chocolate. Go get one now.
All right, so today's game was one of those games that was kind of hard to understand. The Astros had 13 hits. They had no walks. It's hard to believe that a team as patient as the Astros are, they didn't have any walks. The A's only had 8 hits, and they had 6 walks, and they had how many? 3 home runs?
Yeah,
Yeah,
three
they had
solo
3 home runs.
shots.
Yeah, and 3 of them are off Christian Javier. Christian Javier, he pitched really good. He had 9 strikeouts. He allowed 5 hits in 6 innings. What are you seeing so far from Javier, Clay?
Well, what I think is that he's getting more efficient. He's getting more efficient with his pitches. Even though he did only have 1 walk, I think his pitch count kind of ran up with a lot of foul balls that were at the plate. Going 6 innings and just giving up 3 solo shots. Solo shots isn't really one of those things that, from a pitcher standpoint, if you're going to give up the long ball, it's definitely you definitely want to give up solo shots. You don't want to do it with runners on base. But look, Laureano had one of those nights tonight. And, he kind of had Christian Javier kind of pegged for it. And, he had an all-around game. He was hitting 2 jacks, and then hitting a little sac fly to kind of to bring it in the walk-off for Oakland was big for him. So, I think this is going to be probably, the type of the rest of the series is going to show up with Oakland versus Astros because, both these teams can pitch a little bit. Obviously, I think the Astros can out-hit Oakland any day of the week. But, whenever you got Manaea going out there throwing 6 strong innings as well, and really pounding the strike zone, which is impressive, as he gets stronger each outing for Oakland this year, I think it's going to be, it's probably going to be the back and forth strong pillow fight between Oakland and Houston for the remainder of the season.
Yeah, I just think tonight, I liked what Christian Javier offered. I did think that the umpire actually started out really well, and I don't blame wins or losses on the umpire. There were some pitches that he was calling off the plate for Oakland that we weren't getting on our side. And so, that's going to happen. That is the element of human error. It's like Trevor Howard said, 2 things we need to fix: relief pitching and the umps can kiss my what. Yeah, the umps are never our friend, especially if they don't call things our way. I know that's the deal. But you had a solid, your top 3 guys all got 2 hits: Altuve, Brantley, and Bregman. Alvarez added 2 hits. Tucker got the solo shot. So when you look at this game and you score 5 runs and your pitcher has 9 strikeouts, you think, okay, we're going to win this game. But then you give up a single run in the last 4 innings of this game, and the relief pitching in 2 1/3 innings gives up what they give up the lead. And you expect a back and forth with Oakland, but I expect the Astros to have the upper hand. But let's talk about Ryan Stanek. Ryan Stanek has been all year Mr. Reliable. He has done a great job. As of late, he has been a different pitcher. He struggled with this command. He is a hard-throwing pitcher. He throws in the upper 90s. Several pitches got away. He actually nearly hit 3 different batters around the shoulder area. And after seeing Kevin Pillar take a 94-mile-an-hour fastball to the face the other night, that's all I could think about when he was throwing those pitches out of the zone. But it just seemed like even Scrub was missing the zone. Paredes wasn't super sharp. It just wasn't a good night for the relief pitching. So when you look at that, Clay, as a starter, is that frustrating or is that just part of the game?
It's definitely part of the game. More so whenever you have a full 162 game schedule. It's like all this stuff is going to even out. And for Stanek, it's his first blown save of the year. I think as many outings as he's already got, 17 innings pitched already throughout the season. If he stays on this pace, he's going to end up for an entire season full of innings and full of opportunities to have hold opportunities, save opportunities. And for it to go this deep so far in the season and just have his first blown save, I wouldn't really necessarily say that it's something to be too concerned about. But from a starting pitcher standpoint, hey, it happens. You got to go out there and you got to give your team a chance to win. There's going to be times that you go out there and your bullpen picks you up and, you end up spitting the hook because you gave up 3 or 4 in the first inning and your offense battled back and, the bullpen comes in to save your butt. So I don't think the starters are going to be thinking about too much about what's going on with the bullpen. For the most part, it's been, somewhat manageable, in terms of them holding down leads. And, Houston was just coming off what was it, a 10-game win streak or
6-game?
6-game win streak, 6-game win streak. So, look, it's going to happen. And especially when you're going out from the Central coming out to the West Coast, the times change a little bit. You get used to playing a lot of the games, 2 hours earlier, so it takes a little bit of adjustment, but these guys are professionals. I see them coming back out tomorrow ready to play, and I don't think there's going to be a big hiccup here.
Brett, I think you undersold Kyle Tucker's home run. That was 459 feet.
You're right. I'm sorry.
I mean, that was like, I knew it, as soon as he swung and hit it, you could tell that was be a blast. And that was 25 feet more longer than any home run he's hit in his career.
No,
and
yeah,
that was just a blast.
Yeah, that one kept going. Yeah, I do apologize. I was focusing on the negative. You notice I'm wearing my shirt in mourning for the loss, so I was thinking about the negative stuff where I try to always be positive. But you're right, and even in the replay, you could see the ball just kept going up and up and up. That was a shot, and Kyle Tucker is just doing really, really good things. I mean, his average now is up to 233. Just a couple weeks ago, it was 181. This guy was hitting under 200, and he's been one of the hottest hitters in all of baseball.
Right, and you had all these great things to say about him too back then. You were sitting there going, "What is going on with Tucker? What are we going to do here? Who are we going to replace him with?" And now look at him. He's on a hot streak, and he's coming out of that slump pretty quickly.
Right. A lot of people have been saying the same thing about Miles Straw, but he had 2 hits today. I know one of them was because who was it? Tony Kemp hasn't played a lot of second base, so he was going to cover second base, and then they're like, "Oops, the ball's going that way," and so he had to go back and try to get the ball. But by that time, it was too late. But for Pete's sake, Miles Straw, stop sliding halfway to second base. That is the most annoying thing that I've seen anybody ever do.
Or track down a fly ball.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know that was. As I don't want to go too deep into this, Clay, but as a pitcher, what does it feel like when you see an outfielder just kind of misplay a ball like that?
So I had when I played in Florida, we had a shortstop. I'm not going to name any names, but it wasn't one of the games that I pitched in, but man, you want to talk about mailing it in, and it's tough to watch, because you're all out there. You're supposed to be a team. And, I wouldn't necessarily say that anything's being lollygagged or anything, from the Astros standpoint, but, the expectation is you go out there to play hard. And, the way I'd look at it is I'd like to show up, ready to play, and you expect the same from your teammates. So, hey, it is a long season. There are some gaps that are going to come along the way, and you just got to be a good teammate, man. You got to support him. And, if for whatever reason he's, maybe not giving it 100%, maybe have that talk with him and see what's going on and, try to make it better for him.
Yeah, I bet on him making that play more often than he doesn't. So I agree with you. Yeah. So, Brett, speaking of betting, let's talk about betonline.ag.
Yeah. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your sports action. Baseball season is in full swing, and you can track all the action at BetOnline. Heck, you could probably track the MVP race. Is it between Yuli Gurriel and Shohei Ohtani? Is it between Yordan Alvarez and Shohei Ohtani? Go check those out. Get all the latest news, odds, and info on all your sporting needs, including MLB, NBA, NHL, and UFC MMA, just like was in Houston this last weekend. Before the next pitch, head over to BetOnline on your laptop and mobile device and check out all the great sporting news, sign-up bonuses, and contest information. Don't sit on the sidelines anymore. This is your chance to get in the game as teams prep for their runs for the playoffs. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus with your first deposit. This is how you do it. You go to Bet Online, use a promo code Locked On, your sportsbook experts.
Speaking of MVP odds, it sounds like Mike Trout just his chances for winning MVP just took a hit today because he's hit the 10-day IL with a right calf strain. That's going to put him out 6 to 8 weeks.
Wow.
So that's a big loss for the Angels. And I know that Ohtani is having a monster season. He's hit his 14th homer this year. And as a former pitcher, Clay, can you imagine what it takes for Ohtani to go out there and not only game plan to pitch every 5th or 6th day, but to go out there every day and be a hitter as well?
Well, I'd like to think that's how I was. I felt like I was a pitcher that could rake and everything, but there's a reason why I became a pitcher. Or actually, there's a reason why I was forced to pitch. But back in the day, hey, boy, had some pop. Hey, look, the reality of it is. When you look at some of these contracts for some of these position players, right, you start to think like, holy cow, this is getting super inflated. But I'll tell you what, after seeing it for as many years as I've seen it and see the greatest hitters play, pitch against some of the greatest hitters that have played, those guys deserve every dollar. And to show up and to not only hit at the highest level, but hit for average at the highest level, then also to hit for power at the highest level. It's something that's pretty special. It's something rare and very unique. So what he's doing is obviously it's impressive. And to go in there and be able to do that, that just says something about his ability. And, if he was on the bump and, getting a chance to rake at the same time, be somebody I'd hate to face.
Yeah, it is amazing. I remember watching him when he first came to Minute Maid Park. I was at the first game he showed up at Minute Maid Park with the Angels, and just watching the guy warm up, it was like you felt like you were watching some baseball Zen master type of person. He had this focus, and the way he warmed up was even unique. It was like, wait, everything this guy does is really cool,
There's few of us around like that, yeah.
Well, I wondered if he went to Clay Hensley's school of ninja pitching.
No. I think for me, everybody was looking. They're like, "How short is that guy?"
Well, here's the thing, Clay. His 440-foot home run today was 111 miles exit velocity off the bat, and then a pitch he hit the game before was 4.5 feet above the ground, one of the highest pitches ever measured for a home run in recent years, and absolutely obliterated that for 440 something feet. He's just doing things. Who was
on the mound for the 440?
For the 440, they just showed the highlight and I didn't see the picture. Nope, it's not them. I'll look and I'll find it. Go ahead.
Let me know.
So we are the Locked On Astros podcast, right?
That's right. We're Locked On Astros, but hey, we can stand Ohtani because the Angels aren't doing anything. They're just, hey, trade him to us. We can use them. We're on a championship run.
All right.
Right. It's early.
I know.
So James Click said that Framber Valdez looked good. He pounded the strike zone. It was not great to see how many of those infield hits got through, but we'll work on that with our AAA guys. The main thing is that he came out feeling great, and 5 days from now, we'll see how he does good with the next one. And I know that we saw Jake Odorizzi on the mound. He pitched today, 3 innings pitched, 5 hits, 4 runs, 4 earned runs, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts for the Sugarland Skeeters. So it's good to see the ailing starting pitchers get back on the mound. So Framber Valdez, how big that is this guy for the Astros rotation, Clay?
Well, obviously he had a strong season last year, and I think that if he can plug some of the holes, when the Astros rotation is hurt this much, it obviously it's gonna probably play into this regular season right now. But look, if you have some of these younger guys or you have some of these guys stepping in and doing somewhat of a pretty good job for the most part, keeping the Astros in the ball game, keeping them in in a position to have an opportunity to win is all you can ask for. I think that when these guys get healthy, it's going to be one of the good problems that the front office brass is going to have to deal with. They're going to have to make some decisions on some of these good pitchers.
Yeah, so that pitcher was Zach Plesac, Dan Plesac's son, who pitches for the Cleveland Indians. So, but yeah, Framber Valdez coming back, I think will be a huge shot in the arm, a huge boost for this team. I'm excited about him. Someone actually asked the other day, I won't say who on Twitter, who are you more excited about returning, Odorizzi or Valdez? And if anybody wants Odorizzi and they're more excited about him than Valdez, they got to be lying to themselves, because Odorizzi, I don't know. There's still a lot for me to be desired there. I know he's going to have to figure out pitching at home Minute Maid Park. I'm not looking forward to that. But Framber Valdez, when he gets his stuff back, when he has his confidence, I think he's going to come in. Remember, he is the guy, and we've said this before, that Mike Trout has said has one of the nastiest curveballs in all of baseball. And so
right.
That is something to be said about that. So this team, I think in the end, in the long run, that they have a lot to be thankful for. They have one of the most powerful offenses in the league. They've won 6 of their last 7 series that they've played in. That 1-9 run, I think Eric said this the other day, kind of set them up to be in this position right now. That 1-9 run kind of woke them up, and now they're winning games. They basically come out and win the next 2 games in Oakland. They win a 7 out of their last 8 series. They go to the Rangers, and they can beat them. What's interesting? I don't know if y'all heard this, but we swept the Rangers in 4 games. The Yankees came to town in Arlington, and they defeated Garrett Cole. So baseball is a funny sport.
It is. That's the thing about baseball. That's why I like the 162 game season. I know that last year it was unique with obviously shortened season due to COVID, and some of the expanded stuff that was going on in the playoffs, which was fun to watch. But, I really believe it's 162 games. There's a reason why it was like that. And it's been like that is because, teams start off hot. Some start off a little cold, but it all evens out at the end.
So you're saying something about the Dodgers winning the World Series, or?
Well, I heard the World Series trophy. I heard the flags were cut in half because, and the rings were like cubic zirconium. They weren't real diamonds.
It's because of all the distribution trouble that everybody was having with all the diamonds and everything, so they had to go with the cubic zirconia.
The De Beers family cut them short.
Yeah, it wasn't their fault. It was all the import-export stuff that got locked down.
So I don't know how much of Zach Greinke you've gotten to watch recently, but
about 20 years of it. But that's just saying. Who's counting?
In the recent games where he's kind of struggled. I know in his last outing he kind of rediscovered himself, but I know that tomorrow's game is kind of important for the Astros to kind of bounce back from today's loss. So he's on the mound tomorrow. So what do you expect to see from Zach Greinke tomorrow?
Zach Greinke is one of those guys, honestly, that, I feel like rediscovered himself, has come up quite a bit in this guy's career. If there's ever a situation when a team is needing to either bounce back from a tough loss or have a go-to guy in a playoff series or a playoff game, it seems like Zach Greinke, no matter if it was him in his prime or him on the backside of his career, the guy still knows how to pitch. And I wouldn't take anything lightly if I was Oakland tomorrow.
So wait, he's rediscovering himself. Eric was like, wait, is he 14? And I'm joking.
Who am I?
I don't know who I am. But it's I think for him that's a perfect comment, because he is definitely very unique. His whole personality, his whole persona, and this is a guy that he had those 3 outings in a row with 4 innings or less where I'm just like, Clay, I was like, let's trade the guy. Let's see what we can get for him, And so, I mean, I know I kind of knee jerk a little bit in this long season. Eric's like, yes, you do. It's okay. That's what I'm paid to do, right?
Put some overreact. Just put some ice on it.
Put some ice on it. My thing is, I think Zach Greinke comes out tomorrow and does an excellent job. Frankie Montas, I think that he is a pitcher that is vulnerable. I know the last time that he faced them, he actually only gave up 1 run over 6 innings. They got to Sean Manaea early with the solo home runs. Not with the solo home runs. That was the Astros. That was the Astros pitcher. But they got some key doubles with men and runners in scoring position. So I just think that the Astros come out and the hitters do their job. The relief pitching has got to pick it up. We don't need a second night in a row of the relief, or we need Zach Greinke to go 7 or 8 innings. That's the thing. These starters going 6 innings just right now isn't enough. And so those starters have got to go deeper. And I guess only time will tell when the game starts.
Yep. Yeah, no, but look at this. You talk about Greinke and, the first few, some of his earlier starts where he's not getting out of 4th and 5th inning and whatnot. For a guy to be coming back and going 7 strong innings, giving 3 runs his last outing, you can't, to me, for as much of a veteran as he is and as sure as I am of a type of pitcher he is, where it's like, hey, he's letting those earlier starts go down the drain with the shower when it happened. He's not a guy that's going to let it wear on his shoulders. So coming back, throwing 7 strong innings, going into Oakland tomorrow, I think he's going to be ready to go.
Yeah, I agree with you. So it's going to be another good game tomorrow. I think the Astros bats are going to come out like they did today and just take care of business. So I believe that's all we got for today's Locked On Astros podcast. Clay, thank you for coming in as always. And you're welcome back whenever you want to come on. And we love to hear your valuable insight from your years in the game.
All right, yeah, appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely, Clay. And y'all can find him at C Hensley 32. I'm H. Town Wheelhouse. You can find me on at H. Town Wheelhouse on Twitter, and Eric at Eric Talk Stros, our main host. So today on the Locked On Today podcast, Jason Tatum put the Boston Celtics on his back and advanced them out to the play-in round. That's right. Get more of the sports news you need in less time with the Locked On Today podcast. Follow the Locked On Today podcast on the Audacity app or wherever you get your podcast. I'm H-Town Wheelhouse. This has been Locked On Astros. Y'all have a good night, and let's go get a win tomorrow night.
Cheers.